Hey there! Are you ready for another brain workout today? Because I have 30 new riddles for you. I'll show you a pair of people for each one, and you'll have to decide which person doesn't behave wisely. You'll have 7 seconds per riddle to make your decision. Every right answer will award you 1 point. Ready? Grab a pencil and a piece of paper, and let's get started. Charlotte and Elizabeth are doing some homework. Charlotte is going to iron some clothes, and Elizabeth is about to cook. Who's not being smart? Elizabeth. Charlotte's safe because the iron is turned off. Lucas and Liam are going on a field trip with their kids. Lucas is distracted while his daughter is climbing a tree. Liam is talking to another parent while his son is petting a dog. Who is wrong? Lucas. The branch his daughter is climbing is cracking, and she is about to fall. Ava and Olivia are finally leaving home for their first night out after maternity leave. Ava decides to walk, and Olivia is waiting for a taxi. Who is not ready? Olivia. She forgot to finish her makeup. Michael and Logan are bloggers who take selfies in dangerous places. This time, Michael is taking a selfie while surfing on a huge wave, and Logan is taking one standing on the edge of a bridge. Who is not smart? Michael. In Logan's case, at least there are people around who can call emergency services if something goes wrong. Michael is alone. It's early morning. Ian and Nolan are driving their kids to school. Who is not smart? Nolan. His child is not in the car. Jackson and Emma are volunteering at an animal shelter. Jackson is feeding the cats, and Emma is washing the dogs. Who is wrong? Jackson. He gave the cats dog food by mistake. Scarlett and Ellie are going to bed. Scarlett kept her door open so her cat could enter during the night, while Ellie prefers to close her door. Who is not smart? Scarlett. You should always close your bedroom door at night. In case of fire, it'll stop the flames for a while and give you more time. Riley and Isabella are taking their kids to kindergarten. Riley is riding a bike with her daughter, and Isabella and her son are going by car. Who is wrong? Isabella. Her child isn't wearing a seatbelt. Lily and Oliver have job interviews at 4 o'clock. Lily is ironing her best suit, and Oliver is waiting in the hallway wearing jeans. Who's not getting the job today? Lily. She must have forgotten the time. The interview is in 5 minutes, and she's still at home. Sophia and Aiden are working in the garden. Sophia is watering the flowers while her cat is walking around. Aiden is mowing the lawn while his child is playing nearby. Who's not smart? Aiden. It's dangerous to use the lawnmower when children are close by. John and Brandon are making breakfast for their kids. John is making sandwiches, and Brandon is making eggs with bacon. Who is wrong? Brandon. He forgot to turn on the stove. Thomas and Abigail are going on a date. Thomas arrived a half an hour early and decided to buy some flowers. Abigail just returned from London and is driving to meet him. Who is wrong? Abigail. She's driving on the left side of the road. Ryan and Kaylee are having fun outside during their Christmas break. Ryan is learning how to skate on the lake, and Kaylee is skiing in the forest. Who is not smart? Ryan. The ice on the lake is cracking, and there's no one around to help him. Asher and Haley are enjoying their vacations. Asher is chilling at the beach, and Haley is climbing the highest mountain around. Who is not behaving wisely? Asher. Although Haley's activity is quite risky, she seems to be okay. But Asher fell asleep at the beach and is going to get a sunburn. Chloe and Avery are having some quality time on Friday. Chloe is reading a book, and Avery is watching a documentary. Who is missing something? Avery. She forgot to turn off the oven, and something's burning. Hannah and Maya are meeting their friends today. Hannah arrived by bike and is waiting for her friend by the house. Maya arrived by car, opened the doors, and is waiting for her friend to come down. Who is not smart? Maya. It's not safe to stay in the car with unlocked doors. A stranger can quickly get in the car and she wouldn't be able to do anything from the front seat. Mason and Jacob are going on a trip to the desert, where they'll spend the whole day. Who is not adequately prepared? Mason. The sun is powerful, and he's not wearing a hat. Emily and Madison are spending their time outdoors, but it's not their lucky day. Emily stumbled and fell in some mud. Madison was swinging but fell. Now they both are getting up. Who made a mistake? Madison. The swing is still moving, and it may hit her head if she gets up. Aubrey and James are cleaning the house. Aubrey is listening to music while vacuuming the living room, and James is washing the windows. Who is not being smart? Aubrey. The vacuum cleaner isn't plugged in. Mia and Ethan are going on summer vacation. Mia is going to Greece, and Ethan is visiting his brother in Sydney. Who is not smart? Ethan. He's packed shorts and swimwear, but he won't need them because it's winter in Australia. Carter and Layla are in a hurry for work. Carter is walking while talking on his phone, and Layla is running while texting. Who's going to be late? Layla. She's looking at her phone and doesn't see the pit she's about to walk into. Leah and Aaron are driving to meet their friends. Leah has all of her things scattered in the car, and Aaron is traveling above the speed limit. Who is not smart? Leah. It's not safe to keep unprotected things inside the car. In case she stops suddenly, something can hit her very hard. William and Daniel are driving and are late for work. Who is wrong? Daniel. He's driving way above the speed limit in the neighborhood. Jane and Amelia are resting in the park after running 5 miles. Jane is eating, and Amelia is drinking water from the fountain. Who is not smart? Amelia. The warning sign says that the water isn't drinkable. Max and Ezra were driving around the desert and got stuck in the middle of nowhere. They burned a spare tire to produce some smoke. Max stayed close to the tire, and Ezra walked away in search of something helpful. Who is not smart? Ezra. You should never leave the vehicle. Chances are the rescuers will notice the smoke and find you. But if you go, you might miss them. Both Jonathan and Savannah didn't sleep well and are starting their morning. While Savannah is preparing some coffee, Jonathan is taking out the trash. Who is doing something wrong? Jonathan. Instead of the trash, he's taking out the old toys they collected to donate. Stella and Aurora didn't study for the test. One of them decided to try her best, and the other is planning to cheat. Can you spot who's cheating? Stella. She has a lot of bags surrounding her, so she must be trying to hide something. Miles and Cooper were walking in a park when a sudden storm erupted. Lightning struck a tree, and Miles decided to hide under it. Cooper entered a little shack nearby. Who is wrong? Miles. The belief that lightning never strikes in the same place twice is just a common misconception. An indoor shelter is one of the best places to hide. Leo and Melanie are preparing a barbecue party. Leo is cooking and Melanie is decorating the yard. Who is not smart? Leo. While he's cooking, the meat is spoiling in the direct sun. Congrats! That's it for today. Now, sum up your points. If you got 10 points or less, you scored below average. Don't be sad, it's just the beginning. You can check out some other riddles to train and prepare for the next round. If you got between 10 and 25 points, you scored average. Great! You're on the right way. And finally, if you got 26 points or more, you're in great intellectual shape. Here's an interactive medal from me and my admiration. Good for you!
King Victor wants to find a perfect husband for his daughter, Princess Jessica. That's why he offered Arthur, who wants to propose to Jessica, this simple game. He gave the guy 50 gold coins, 50 silver coins, and 2 empty bowls. Then the king said, "Put these 100 coins into these 2 bowls. You can divide them any way you like, as long as you use all the coins. Then I will blindfold you and move the bowls around. After that, you can choose one bowl and pull 1 coin out of it. If the coin is gold, you will marry my daughter. But if the coin is silver, you'll spend the rest of your life in jail." Can you help Arthur raise his chances to marry Jessica? He should place 1 gold coin in 1 bowl and the rest of the coins in the other bowl. This way, he'll begin with a 50-50 chance of choosing the bowl with the gold coin. But even if he chooses the other bowl, he'll still have almost a 50-50 chance of picking one of the 49 gold coins. So this strategy will give him a 2 and 3 chance of getting engaged with Jessica. Josh is at his first job interview. The interviewer, Nancy, decided to check his logical thinking and offered him this task. You have a large tank of water and 3 buckets with a capacity of 4, 8, and 10 gallons respectively. You have to measure 3 gallons of water precisely using these buckets. How will you do it? Can you help Josh pass this test? It's impossible. The interviewer asked Josh to measure 3 gallons, which is an odd number. But she offered Josh the buckets that only fit an even number of gallons, 4, 8, and 10. So he can't be precise in his measurements. There was a doctor with curly hair who lived on 5th Avenue. One day, the doctor's brother got married. What's the family relationship between the doctor and the groom? Keep in mind that brother is not the answer you need. the doctor with curly hair is the sister of the man who got married. Jim met this pretty woman in his favorite park. After having a pleasant conversation with her, he asked, "What's your name?" She told him that her name was hidden on the license plate of her car. Here it is, WV733N. Can you figure out the woman's name? Look at the symbols upside down. The lady's name is Neelam. A kind-looking elderly woman came up to Mia in a restaurant. The woman said,
"You look exactly like my younger daughter. We argued and haven't been speaking for many years. Could you do me a favor and say, 'Goodbye, Mother,' with a smile on your face when I leave?"
Mia felt very sorry for the poor woman and agreed. So she said, "Goodbye, Mother," when the old woman left. Soon after that,
Oh no!
Mia got the biggest shock of her life. Can you guess what happened? A waiter approached Mia and gave her the elderly woman's bill. The woman had assured the waiter that her daughter would pay for her meal.
Oh no!
Nancy took Josh to the office kitchen. Can you see anything weird on the table? Take a look at the electric kettle. Min and Max are on the opposite sides. Look at this cute little rabbit rotating the gear. Can you predict which mark the arrow will point at? Number 1 or number 2? The second. The gears in direct contact will always rotate in opposite directions. There are 40 elephants, and they have 44 heads. How can this be possible? It's a play on words. The 40 elephants have 44 heads. Get it? Kate and Pam are liars. They both lie on specific days. Pam lies on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. She speaks the truth the rest of the time. And Kate lies on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. As for all other days, she speaks only the truth. Can you figure out that one day of the week when both Kate and Pam can say, "Tomorrow I'll lie"? It's Thursday. Let's suppose that any girl is telling the truth when she says, "Tomorrow I'll lie." She will have to keep her promise and lie the next day. But if her statement was false, then she'd have to speak the truth the next day. Anyway, in each case, the girls will have to change their behavior the next day. Now, it's pretty clear that Kate can only say that on Thursday or Sunday, and Pam can say that on Monday or Thursday. So, the only day which fits the conditions of the riddle is Thursday. I'm huge on Sunday and Saturday. I'm small from Tuesday to Thursday. I don't exist on Monday and Friday. What am I? The letter S. Mike is a famous treasure hunter. He is stuck in a cave with 4 doors. Unfortunately, each door hides some serious danger. The room behind the first one is filled with ice. Anyone who enters it gets frozen in seconds. There are 2 hungry sharks waiting behind the second door. The third door opens to a room filled with the world's most poisonous gas. And the fourth door leads to a room filled with giant magnifying lenses that increase the heat from the sun. Anyone and anything that enters gets burned in no time.
Uh-oh.
Can you help Mike escape? He can get away through the fourth door at night when the sun goes down. Bobby needs to crack a secret code using the following clues. One of the numbers is correct and is placed in the right place. Nothing is correct. Two numbers are correct, but not in the needed position. One number is what we need, but it's not in the correct position. One number is okay, but not put in its right place. Have you figured it out? Let's begin with statement 2. We can exclude 0, 3, and 2 from the final code. Now, according to statement 3, we can conclude that numbers 1 and 8 are correct. Statements 1 and 4 help us to learn that 9 is in the final code, and it comes third. Now it's time to identify the right places for 1 and 8. Let's take a look at statements 3 and 5. 8 can't go third because this place is already occupied by 9, and it can't go first because it contradicts the third condition. So, the correct code is 819. Take a look at these matchsticks. There are 5 identical squares. Can you form 6 identical squares by moving just 3 matchsticks? Keep in mind that you're not allowed to let them overlap or break the matchsticks. Here's the way. Take these 3 matchsticks at the bottom and place them vertically in the center of the squares in the middle row. Voila! Now you have 6 identical squares. Several robbers locked Fred in a room. The room is almost empty. There's a piano with notes, a calendar, and a waterbed. The room is locked from the outside. Can you guess what Fred ate and drank and how he escaped from the room? To crack this riddle, you definitely need to think outside the box. Fred ate the dates on the calendar, got water from the waterbed, and used a piano key to escape. Fiona can eat 27 chocolates in an hour. Alex can eat 2 chocolates in 10 minutes. And Kitty can eat 7 chocolates in 20 minutes. How long will it take them all to eat a large box of 120 chocolates? Two hours. In 1 hour, Fiona eats 27 chocolates, Alex eats 12, and Kitty eats 21. The total is 60 chocolates. Therefore, it would take them all 2 hours to eat all 120 chocolates. I'm soft and cuddly, which soothes your heart. But if you pick my last name, I'm gonna tear you apart. What am I? I'm a teddy bear. There are 2 sand hourglasses. The small one can measure 5 hours, and the large one can measure 7 hours. How can we measure 16 hours with the help of 2 hourglasses running together? First of all, start both hourglasses at the same time. 5 hours later, flip over the small hourglass. Then wait for 2 hours and flip over the large hourglass as soon as it finishes its first 7-hour cycle. When the small hourglass finishes the second cycle, this will mean that 10 hours have passed. At this point, the large hourglass will have been running for 3 hours. So now, you should flip over both the small and large hourglasses. This way, you'll make the large hourglass run for 3 hours. When the large hourglass finishes its 3-hour cycle, this will mean that 13 hours have passed. Now, flip both the small and large hourglasses over again. When the small hourglass runs out of sand, it will mark another 3 hours. You've just measured 16 hours, and the mission is accomplished. Can you guess which color should be added to the top of this tree? The number of letters in the names of these colors gets reduced by 1 in every next row. Scarlet is made up of 7 letters. Orange and yellow have 6 letters. Green, brown, and black contain 5 letters. Gray and blue have just 4. So, the missing color should be made up of 3 letters. For example, red. Amy entered her favorite fast food place to get some fries. She saw these 4 people inside. Can you tell who's not poor? The first lady has a fake Gucci bag. This gentleman has a patch on his jacket. The third woman has threads sticking out of her suit. And the fourth guy has a bunch of expensive gadgets. So, he's definitely not poor. Take a look at these matchsticks. Can you find a way to make 3 squares by moving just 4 matchsticks? Here's the right way. The accountant says, "The attorney is my brother!" But the attorney claims he doesn't have a brother. Who's lying? Neither. The accountant is his sister.
During a visit to an antique store, Rachel found a peculiar piece of gold. It turned out that the man who brought it to the shop mentioned it had once belonged to a pirate named Captain Benedict Jameson. He said he had hidden the rest of his treasures on an island. The map was hidden inside a cave that was located on a beach on the same island, but no one has managed to find the treasure yet. Rachel was intrigued, so she called her friend Jeremy and convinced him to set sail there to search for this treasure. After weeks of sailing, they arrived at the island and looked for the cave first. Can you spot it? Here it is. Three different paths within the cave led to the map. Which one should they choose? Notice the blinking eyes of a wild animal waiting for its prey in the shadows of the second path? There is a rather large spider web blocking the third path. That must only mean there's a large spider that made it. So, the safest option is the first path. They arrived at the end of the cave and found 3 wooden boxes. Each had a different map on it. Only one map will lead them to the treasure. Which map should they choose? The area that the first map shows is surrounded by trees. The second map shows an area surrounded by the ocean. The area on the third map is surrounded by mountains. So, since they're on an island, they should choose the second map. On the back of the treasure map, they found a message written by Captain Benedict himself.
Congratulations, traveler. You've picked the correct map. Now you're a step closer to finding the rest of my wealth. But I warn you, the journey ahead won't be simple. You'll have to solve every riddle that I have for you. And only then will you be able to find my treasure.
According to the map, they had to enter the forest. Captain Benedict left another riddle on the map about it.
My friend will accompany you from here on, but first, you have to find the tree that it lives on. Look for a fruitful palm tree. If you try to bite the fruit I'm talking about, you'll break your teeth. I guarantee.
Take a look around. Which tree do you think that the captain is talking about? Some of these trees don't have any fruit at all, so none of them can be the tree the captain mentioned. These trees have bananas on them, but you won't break your teeth if you eat bananas. Then it must be this tree with coconuts, because you'll definitely break your teeth if you try to bite a coconut. When they got closer to the tree, they noticed an engraving on it. It said,
Look up and find my friend Jonathan the monkey. Take him with you on your journey, because he knows where I hid the key.
Then Rachel and Jeremy looked up and saw 3 monkeys. Which monkey do you think Jonathan is? Notice that the 3rd monkey is holding the same piece of gold as the one Rachel found at the antique store. This guy must have access to the treasure, so he must be Jonathan. Rachel and Jeremy tried taking Jonathan with them, but he refused to even move. How do you think they can convince Jonathan to come with them? Luckily, there's banana trees around, so they should just give him a banana to gain his trust. Jeremy wanted to climb one of the banana trees to pick a banana, but they were all very tall, and it seemed impossible to climb any of them. However, Rachel suddenly burst with excitement after seeing something that would help Jeremy. What did Rachel see? Take a closer look at the trees. One of them has an old rope ladder attached to it. Jeremy can climb up there to get a banana. After Jeremy had picked a banana, Jonathan the monkey got down from the tree to get it. While he was eating his banana, Rachel and Jeremy felt hungry and decided to take a break to eat something too. However, when they reached for the food in their bags, everything was gone. Can you guess what happened? Did you notice something strange as Jeremy was climbing the tree? Let's rewind a bit to show you what happened. The monkeys were stealing all the food from Jeremy and Rachel's bags. Rachel and Jeremy had nothing else to eat other than the bananas off of the trees. But when Jeremy tried to climb up the rope ladder again, the rope broke. Now that they wouldn't be able to pick any bananas, they had to find something else to eat. They walked around and came across a waterfall. Rachel suggested that they catch some fish. Jeremy then caught 3 different fish, but only one of them was safe to eat. Can you tell which one? They should eat the first fish because the second fish has spikes on it, so it's not suitable to eat. The third fish isn't real. It's electronic. It has small cameras instead of eyes. They fell asleep after eating, trying to figure out where the electronic fish came from. The next morning, when Jeremy woke up, he realized that Rachel was gone. Then they heard a man's voice. Jeremy couldn't figure out where it was coming from, but Jonathan the monkey pointed to the electronic fish. The voice said,
I have your friend. Answer this riddle of mine if you want to see your friend again. There's a 1-story house in which everything is green. Green walls, green doors, green furniture. What color are the stairs?
Since it's only a 1-story house, there aren't any stairs in it. Suddenly, the waterfall stopped flowing, and the cave appeared behind it. The voice said,
Enter.
Inside, an evil scientist was waiting for Jeremy. He said that he was going to give him a chance to save his friend. He took Jeremy to a water tank with 3 different creatures in it. The scientist said,
One of these creatures is Rachel, but the other 2 are not human at all. I will free your friend if you can guess correctly which one she is.
Take a closer look at the second creature. There are definitely human legs covered with seaweed. That must be Rachel. The evil scientist set Rachel free, but didn't let them leave the cave just yet. He showed them 3 gates. If they choose the right one, they'll be free to go. Behind the first gate, hundreds of poisonous snakes are waiting. Behind the second gate, there is a vicious vampire. Behind the third gate, there is a pack of hungry wolves. Which door should they choose? They should choose the second door. It's morning outside, the sun is shining bright, and vampires can't survive the sun. After Rachel, Jeremy, and Jonathan got free, they got back on the trail following the map and arrived at the side of a cliff. There were 3 different bridges in front of them from which they could walk across to the other side. Which bridge should they choose? The wooden bridge looks very old. It won't be able to hold their weight. Even though the metal bridge looks sturdy, it's very narrow and it has no railings. They might lose their balance and fall. So, they should choose the glass bridge. As they continued their journey, they walked into a swamp without noticing, and they got stuck in it. There were 3 ropes hanging from a tree, with which they could pull themselves out. Which rope should they choose? The first and the third rope are no ropes at all. One of them is a snake and the other is a tiger's tail, so they should choose the second rope. After they saved themselves from the swamp, they were finally able to make it to the last destination that was marked on the map. There was a trap door in the ground. They had to go through it, but it was locked with a 5-letter combination padlock. However, Captain Benedict left a clue on how to unlock it in his notes, and the clue was 3, 8, 5, 19, 20. What do you think it means? Each number represents its respective letter in the alphabet. The 3rd letter of the alphabet is C. The 8th letter is H. The 5th letter is E. The 19th letter is S. And the 20th letter is T. So the passcode is the word chest. Once they opened the door, they saw a staircase leading to an underground room. When they entered it, they found 3 different chests. Only one of them holds the treasure. Which one is it? Can you see the ants coming in and out of the first chest carrying small pieces of food? And a sticky, slime-like substance is oozing from the 3rd chest. It must be filled with whatever that is. But there is a golden reflection coming from the 2nd chest. That can only mean the gold is in there. They left the room with the treasure chest. However, the chest was locked, and the map didn't have any more notes or directions on it. Jonathan started pulling Rachel's shirt as if he wanted to say something. Then, she remembered Captain Benedict's previous note.
My friend Jonathan the monkey knows where I hid the key.
So she and Jeremy started following Jonathan. They arrived at a beautiful garden with 3 statues. Each statue was holding a key, and only one of them would open the treasure chest. Which one should they choose? Take a closer look at the treasure chest. The lock of the chest has a little emerald on it. The first key has a ruby on it. The second key is decorated with an amethyst. And the third key has an emerald on it. Since it matches the lock, this must be the key they should choose.
Bella and Shelley are sisters and best friends. One weekend, their parents went on vacation. Before leaving, they strictly forbade Bella and Shelley to have parties in the house. But the sisters didn't listen and invited all their friends as soon as their parents left. After the party, the entire house was a mess. So, Bella and Shelley hired a cleaning lady to get rid of any evidence of the party. When their parents arrived home, their mother, Jessica, began to yell, "I told you, no parties in this house!" How did she know? The house is too clean. There was dust on this glass vase when the parents left, but now it's fresh and clean. Jessica asked Bella and Shelley to mow the backyard lawn. None of the sisters wanted to do this annoying task, so Shelley offered an easy way out. She put 2 cards in a hat and said, "I wrote mow on the first card and chill on the second. Pull a card and choose your destiny." Bella wasn't so naive. She suspected that Shelley was cheating and put both cards with mow written on them. But no one would believe her if she just tried to expose Shelley. And no one would look at the other card once her fate was decided. What should she do? When asked to draw a card, Bella should pick any and destroy the paper without looking at it. In this case, to decide her fate, they'll have to look at the other card, which also says mow. And this will mean that Shelley should mow the lawn. Over a cup of tea, Bella bet Shelley $10 that she could convert her $50 into $100. Do you think Shelley should accept the bet? There's no logical reason behind accepting it. If Bella isn't able to convert the money, she'll lose the bet. But she has only $10 to lose. Meanwhile, Shelley is supposed to be giving her $50 from her wallet. Thus, even if Shelley wins the bet, she'll still lose $40. Bella and Shelley have a certain number of candies. If Bella gives 1 candy to Shelley, they'll have an equal number of candies. But if Shelley gives 1 candy to Bella, then Shelley will be left with half the number of candies that Bella has. Can you find out the number of candies they have right now? Let's use some math to figure it out. Right now, Shelley has X candies and Bella has Z candies. Now we can sum it up in these equations. X plus 1 equals Z minus 1. Therefore, Z minus X equals 2. Also, X minus 1 equals Z plus 1 divided by 2. Now we know that 2X minus Z equals 3. So, if we equate these two conclusions, we'll get the following. X plus 2 equals 2X minus 3. Now we know that X equals 5 and Z equals 7. Therefore, Shelley has 5 candies and Bella has 7 candies. Shelley was doing laundry and found out that her favorite t-shirt got torn. Can you count the exact number of holes in her t-shirt? The answer is not 3 or 6, which most people must be guessing. The correct number of holes is 10. 1 hole for the neck, 2 holes for the arms, 1 hole for the torso, 3 holes in the front, and 3 holes in the back. Bella went to the basement to find her old books. Suddenly, the bulb burned out. Bella took the new bulb to replace it, but the wires are very tangled. Can you find the correct switch that will turn on the bulb? It's the red switch. The best way to get the answer is to start from the bulb. It's been a long day. Bella finally went to sleep. But when she saw her bedroom, she yelled and ran away. Can you tell what's wrong here? Did you notice this zombie? Bella ran to the living room and shut the door. Is she safe here? Nope. Take a look at the mirror. Some stranger is inside the room. Bella and Shelley went hiking with their friends. 4 of them went into a completely empty lake, and then 8 people came out. How is this possible? Four people were sitting on the shoulders of the other 4 when they were getting inside the lake. The guys made a stop to have a picnic. They began to play football. During their play, Bella's boyfriend, Rob, busted his lips and ears and broke a couple of ribs and thighs. However, he still managed to play a professional match the very next day. How can this be possible? Rob knocked on his food plate accidentally while playing. He had pig lips, ears, and ribs, along with chicken thighs. When he knocked on his plate, he busted his food. On the way home, the guys went through a field. They saw a cow. It walked 30 feet north, 30 feet east, 30 feet south, and finally walked 30 feet west. All this time, where was its tail pointing? Can you solve this mystery? Downwards, of course. The guys rented 4 scooters in 4 different places and hit the road. They agreed to meet in a cafe at the gas station. Here's the map. Can you tell which scooter will reach the destination first? The third one. Bella and Shelley were trying to get the perfect gift for their father's birthday. Finally, they found this beautiful vintage watch, but they couldn't afford it. The seller offered them a deal. "Solve my riddle, and I'll make a 90% discount." The sisters agreed. The seller took out a $50 bill and asked, "What's the easiest way to double my money?" Can you help them solve this mystery? They should put the bill in front of a mirror. The sisters decided to have lunch in a cozy little cafe. The cook offered them tomato soup, mushroom salad, chicken wings, octopus, and mushroom pizza. Can you help them choose the safest food? There are mirror shards in these chicken wings. Probably not the healthiest option. I'm pretty sure those mushrooms are poisonous too. This octopus is still alive, and this soup must be several weeks old. So, Bella and Shelley should choose the mushroom pizza. After lunch, the local barista offered the sisters free coffee if they managed to solve his tricky riddle. Here's the task. Name a 10-letter word in English that can be typed using only the top rows of your computer keyboard. Can you help the ladies get their free coffee? And the correct answer is typewriter. Great job! Shelley got a job at a restaurant. One night, a cook, a cobbler, and a doctor went to dinner together and asked Shelley to split the bill equally among them. When the bill arrived, it was for 4 people. How can this be possible? The 4th person was the knight. It was just misspelled as night. Shelley and Bella were walking down the street. Suddenly, they saw this creepy shadow. Can you guess what's going on here? Should they be worried? Nope. It's Halloween. The guy is just walking around and scaring people in his witch costume. See? He's wearing sneakers. Shelley and Bella saw this mysterious magic shop sign and decided to go get some tarot readings. As soon as they entered the shop, a wicked witch locked the door and said,
I will make your biggest dreams come true if you crack my code. But if you fail, you'll stay here forever.
Then she gave them the following clues. A. 981. One number is perfectly placed. B. 924. Everything is incorrect. C. 093. Two numbers are part of the code, but are in the wrong places. D. 147. One number is part of the code, but is in the wrong place. E. 783. One number is part of the code, but is in the wrong place. Can you help Shelley and Bella? From clues A and B, we learned that 9 is not in the code. It also means that 8 or 1 is in the code for sure. According to clue B, we know that 9, 2, and 4 are not in the code. From clue C, we know that 0 and 3 are in the final code. Clue E tells us that 7 and 8 are not in the final code because we already know that 3 is. And clue D tells us that 1 is also in the code because 4 and 7 are not. So, the correct code is 301. The witch has fulfilled Shelley and Bella's wishes. They wanted to thank her and decided to prepare her favorite drink from a recipe book. Unfortunately, the last ingredient was encrypted. Can you help them crack the code? They should add a tier of a Triton. After visiting the witch, Shelley met a handsome guy, Tom. They had a perfect date. Shelley couldn't believe that he was real. She thought it was an illusion created by the witch's spell. So she decided to test the guy's logical skills. She showed him this list and asked just one question. What do these words have in common? Can you help Tom? If we remove the first letter of each word and place it in the end, you'll be able to read the same word from the beginning and the end. Can you figure out the next number in this sequence? It's 2. To make the puzzle seem harder, all digits are placed apart. In fact, the sequence consists of 2 different sequences. The first one is 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And the second sequence is 9, 18, 36, 72, and so on. Now it's obvious that the next digit should be 2.
Amy's elder sister, Vicky, gave her this shopping list and asked her to get some groceries. Amy took the list without even looking at it, but when she arrived at the supermarket, she realized that her sister had pranked her. Vicky has encoded the names of the products she needed. Can you help Amy figure out what she's supposed to buy? Here's the first product. It's blueberry. What about this one? Watermelon. Can you recognize this food? That's right, it's kiwi. Here's the next rebus. Can you crack this code? Grape. What about this one? Pineapple. Great job. Next riddle. Any ideas? Vicky needs some bananas. And how about this food? That's right, Amy should buy some oranges. And here's the final product. Can you figure out what it is? Lemon. Amy took everything she needed and headed to the cashier. He said,
I'll give you a 90% discount if you manage to solve my riddle.
Amy agreed. Here's the riddle.
If you had 3 apples and 4 oranges in one hand, and 4 apples and 3 oranges in the other hand, what would you have?
Can you help Amy crack this riddle to save some money? Try to think outside the box. Obviously, you must have very large hands to hold all this. Amy left the supermarket and headed home, but suddenly she realized that she'd left her wallet at the checkout. She ran back to the supermarket, but the wallet was nowhere to be found. Amy questioned 3 people standing nearby. Bob, the cashier, said, "Sorry, I didn't see your wallet. I had the other customers." One of the customers, Kim, said, "I think I saw the cleaner take your wallet from the checkout after you'd left." And the cleaner, Nancy, said, "Who do you think I am? I need this job to support my family." Who stole the wallet? It was Kim. She's holding her own wallet in her hand. But there's also Amy's wallet hidden in her boot. Amy didn't want to waste her time, so she told Kim, "I won't call the police if you give me back my wallet and crack my riddle." Kim agreed. Here's the riddle. Can you name 4 days which start with the letter T? It was Kim's lucky day because she managed to solve this riddle. What was her reply? Tuesday, Thursday, today, and tomorrow. Amy, Vicky, and their boyfriends Josh and Greg went hiking and got lost. They wandered around the forest for a few hours and found this sign. There were 3 paths through the forest. The first one would take them to a toxic swamp. No one has ever returned from that swamp alive. Hungry tigers were blocking the second road, and to use the third path, the guys had to cross an ice-cold mountain river. Which way is the safest? The third one. See this sign? It says the river is only 20 inches deep. They can easily cross it. It got dark very fast. While the friends were still trying to find a way to cross the river, their phones had run out of battery, and they only had 1 torch. The river is too risky to cross without any lighting. If all 4 people started crossing the river at the same time, the torchlight wouldn't be enough. Plus, each person would be crossing the river at a different speed. Amy would need only 1 minute. Vicky would do it in 2 minutes. Josh would need 7 minutes, and Greg, 10 minutes. What's the shortest time needed for all friends to cross the river? Usually, people jump to the conclusion that the fastest person should guide everyone. In this case, Amy would have to accompany Greg. It'd take 10 minutes. Then she would need 1 minute to come back. She'd guide Josh across the river. It'd take 7 minutes. Then Amy would spend 1 minute to return for Vicky and make the final 2-minute walk across the river. In this case, the entire process would take 21 minutes. But our task is to minimize the time. That's why we should find a way for the slowest people to walk together. So here's the correct order. Amy and Vicky cross the river, which takes them 2 minutes. Then Vicky comes back. That's another 2 minutes. Greg and Josh take the torch from Vicky and go across the river. It takes them 10 minutes. Then Amy comes back with the torch, takes Vicky, and they cross the river together. That's 3 minutes. In this case, the total time will be 17 minutes. After crossing the river, the guys meet a woodsman. He promises to guide them out of the forest if they solved his riddle.
What do an island and the letter T have in common?
After the friends answered, the woodsman explained to them how to find the bus stop and disappeared. What did they say? The letter T and the island are both in the middle of the water. It took a while to find the bus station, and the guys got hungry. That's why they decided to buy some food. But only one of these vending machines is safe to use. Can you tell which one? Someone scribbled cash eater on this vending machine, so it's probably not working. Cockroaches are crawling all over the food inside this machine. The guys should use the second vending machine. When the bus arrived, the guys realized that they didn't have enough cash to buy the tickets, but the driver was very generous. He said,
I'm gonna give you a free ride if you crack my riddle. It's very simple. Why is 6 afraid of 7?
Amy solved this riddle right away. What about you? Because when it was hungry, 7 ate 9. The guys took their seats on the bus. Can you find anything weird here? This elderly lady is transparent. She's a ghost. When Amy and Vicky returned home, they discovered that someone had robbed their house. The girls called the police. Detectives questioned 3 neighbors. Mary said, "Last week my husband Rick and I were sunbathing in the Maldives. Rick got sunburned and we had to go back home earlier. We've just come from the airport." Love said, "I think I saw a suspicious guy in a hoodie near your house a few hours ago." Joanna said, "My boyfriend and I celebrated our anniversary in a restaurant. We've just returned home." Who's lying? Mary. She said that Rick had gotten sunburned, but now he looks perfectly fine, and he doesn't look tanned either. Amy decided to get a new job to save some money for college. She sent her resume to the local bank and received an invitation for a job interview. The HR manager offered her a riddle to challenge her logical thinking. Imagine you have an unlimited number of coins in your wallet. What's the minimum number of coins you'll need to make sure that each of these coins will touch exactly 3 others? Can you help Amy get the job? The correct answer is 4. She should place 3 coins flat on the table so that they form a triangle and their edges touch each other. And then she can put the 4th coin in the middle on top of the rest. Amy got the job in the bank. After her first day at work was over, she went home. But on her way home, she realized she'd forgotten her phone in the bank. So she went back and took her phone. Suddenly, the girl heard some weird noise coming from the bank vault. She went there and saw these 3 men inside the room. She noticed that one of them was an imposter right away. What about you? Can you spot him? The 3rd guy doesn't belong here. Look, he's wearing a police badge. He must be working undercover. The robbers ran away and locked Amy and the police officers inside the vault. Now they have to solve this riddle to unlock the door. They have to find a way to connect these 9 stars by using just 4 lines, all without lifting their hand even once. Can you help them find the right way? Such a task requires creativity, and this shape meets all requirements. But maybe you came up with something better. Amy bought flowers for her sister's birthday. She was walking down the street holding the bouquet in her hands. Suddenly, a man in a mask ran up to her, grabbed the flowers, and ran to the nearest restaurant. Amy started crying. A patrol car stopped next to her. Amy told the police officer what had happened. They went to the restaurant together to find the criminal. There were 4 men with very similar bouquets. Can you tell who robbed Amy? This guy. Amy's bouquet was tied with purple ribbon. Vicky organized a birthday party. To avoid uninvited guests, she asked the security guard to set a special password, but her boyfriend Harry, who was most definitely not invited, developed a plan that could help him enter the party. He hid near the door and started to listen attentively. When the first guest arrived, the guard said 12. The guest answered with 6. Then the second guest arrived, and the guard said 6. The guest replied with 3. Harry thought he'd heard enough and walked up to the guard. The man said 8, and Harry replied with 4. After hearing this answer, the guard asked Harry to leave. Why? Because the password is not half the number. It's the number of letters in the word. He should have said 5 because the word 8 consists of 5 letters. Can you count the number of squares in this image? The correct answer is 40.
So, our guy James here had passed all the first stages of the entrance exam for the Superhero Training Academy. For the final stage, the committee was going to test if he was able to determine who to save first in urgent situations. So they showed him a few images and wanted him to decide who was really in danger. Can you help him out? Here are the first 2. In the second image, the train is not moving and the lights are not on. That means the man can cross without any danger. As for the woman taking a bath and trying to dry her hair, well, it's not wise to use electrical stuff in the bathtub, so James should save her first. Now take a look at this footage of 2 people falling from a cliff. Can you help James detect who is in real danger here? The guy holding the umbrella might appear to be falling faster than the guy holding the plastic bag. However, he's going to fall right into the water, whereas there is a sharp rock right below the plastic bag guy. So, in a situation like this, James should save him first. The last image was going to determine whether James would be accepted or not. Who should be saved first? The lady absorbed in her phone in the second image is safe, because even though the traffic looks busy, the lights show a clear walk signal and cars are stopped. But the man in the first image has left a metal spoon in the microwave that he's about to turn on. That's a big no-no. James finally got accepted into Superhero Training Academy. But there, he was not going to use his real name. He needed to pick a superhero name for himself. Can you guess what his name is? These emojis might help. His superhero name is Thunderbolt Titan. Ooh. It was time to graduate. At the ceremony, the headmaster of the academy wanted to reward Thunderbolt Titan for finishing first in his class. He presented him with a mysterious chest containing a puzzle. Inside awaited a new suit, a cloak, and a high-tech gadget, but only if Thunderbolt Titan could crack the code. Can you help him solve the puzzle and claim his rewards? Look at the number sequence. What comes next? The correct answer is 7238. You just have to move the last number to the front. One day when Thunderbolt Titan was at home, somebody slid a note under his door. But it was encrypted with a strange number sequence. And below the numbers, there was a hint. Think about your device. Can you help decode the mysterious message? To decode this number sequence, we use a mobile phone keypad, as the hint suggests, where each number pair represents a letter. The first digit indicates the keypad number, and the second digit selects the letter's position on that key. For instance, 42 translates to H, because 4 corresponds to the GHI button, and pressing on it 2 times will give you H. Following this method, the fully decoded message is "Help now." A villain from the multiverse had brought all kinds of creatures to planet Earth, and the Protectors League needed Thunderbolt Titan's help to find and capture them before they unleashed chaos. The first monster they were searching for was a zombie, and the Protectors League had 3 suspects. Take a look at them and help Thunderbolt Titan successfully complete his first mission. The first person looks all dirty, but she was probably working in the garden. The second lady's grocery bag is leaking juice, not blood. So the third person must be the zombie, because the living don't wear hospital tags on their ankles. The second creature the Protectors League was searching for was an extraterrestrial being. Take a look at their 2 suspects. Who is the one hiding from the League? Look at Gary M's hospital patient chart. It says his fever is 24.5 degrees Celsius. A human can't have such a low body temperature. He must be the creature. Lastly, the League suspected that a robot was pretending to be a human at a college campus. They spotted 3 students who were acting suspiciously. Can you help Thunderbolt Titan figure out who the robot is? You might think it's obvious that the third student is a robot, but he only has a super realistic-looking robot tattoo on his arm. The first student has a blinking red light inside his shirt's pocket, but that's just a camera. On the other hand, the second student has a USB port on one of her fingers. She must be the robot. To the Protectors League's surprise, there was a 4th monster who had escaped their attention. And at the headquarters, they got an emergency alarm that it was creating mayhem at the amusement park. Thunderbolt Titan immediately rushed there. Upon arrival, he found that the creature's actions had led to a malfunction on the roller coaster ride, causing 3 passengers to be stranded dangerously. Which one should Thunderbolt Titan save first? The second guy will fall first, because he's only holding on with one hand, which is actually pretty difficult to do for an extended period of time. Therefore, Thunderbolt Titan should first save him. Thunderbolt Titan had successfully completed his first 2 missions. However, the villain was not happy that he ruined his evil plans. So he captured him and locked him in a room with no exits. There was only a note that said, "Answer this riddle and you might escape." What can fill a room but takes up no space? The answer is light. Even though Thunderbolt Titan answered the riddle correctly, nothing happened. The villain had tricked him. He had to do something, so he used his superpowers to open 3 portals for himself. However, he didn't have great control over his magical portal power yet. So, all the portals led to tricky places. The first one opened to a jungle full of all kinds of wild animals. The second one opened into the middle of a desert planet, and the third one opened to the edge of a steep, rocky hill. Which one should he choose? Remember the roller coaster mission? Thunderbolt Titan can fly, so he can choose the third portal and fly to safety from the steep hill. One night, Thunderbolt Titan was patrolling the city when he received a distress call. A woman had been attacked by a purse snatcher, and during the struggle, she fell and hit her head. She was now in the hospital room without her bag and her memory. The police officer informed Thunderbolt Titan that there were 3 men outside her door, all claiming to be her husband. Can you help Thunderbolt Titan figure out who is telling the truth? The purse snatcher might have taken her bag, but he didn't take her necklace. Look, she has an L letter pendant. And the first guy here has a neck tattoo that says Liz. He must be her husband. Thunderbolt Titan got an emergency alarm call from the Antarctica Animals Research Center. One of their beloved penguins had been stolen, and they needed his help to find the thief. After using his superhero senses, he narrowed the suspects to 3. Take a look at them. Can you figure out who stole the penguin? The second lady looks like she's hiding something under her skirt, but she's just pregnant. The third guy's backpack looks bulky, but see the flight tag attached to it? That's just his carry-on. But the first guy is hiding raw fish inside his tote bag. That must be to feed the penguin, so he's the thief. During a championship race, one of the cars was suspected of being sabotaged. Thunderbolt Titan was called to the scene to help identify which one with his scanning power. Can you figure it out before him? Take a look at the rear wheel of car 2. It's slightly wobbling, even though the car is stationary. Uh-oh. Riddle number 1. Who is guilty? Sherlock Holmes was working on a tricky case. One day he vanished. The only thing John Watson found on his desk was an encrypted note. It looked like this: D+1, L+1, H+1, K+1, X+1. He knew Sherlock had 3 suspects: David, Susan, and Emily. Who was behind the disappearance of the famous detective? John Watson cracked the code. D+1 equals E, L+1 equals M, and so on. Emily knew where Sherlock was. 2. Generous grandfather. Jason and his grandfather were very close. They spent a lot of time together. Their favorite entertainment was to crack detective riddles. Unfortunately, the elderly man passed away unexpectedly. His lawyer informed the relatives that the grandfather had hidden all his money, and he was a wealthy man. The one who would find it would get all the inheritance. Jason realized the grandfather wanted him to get everything. He ran to his office and soon found out where to look for the money. Can you figure it out? There's a cross on the picture with an apple tree that's hanging on the wall. Jason has to look for the money there. 3. The second riddle. When Jason reached the tree, he found a small box. Inside, there was a note with a rebus puzzle. After looking at it for a while, the guy darted off. Where did he run? The rebus says back door. That's where Jason headed. There, under the stairs, he found another box with a key to a bank safe deposit box inside. 4. East and West. The king's two most trusted bodyguards created a method of keeping their boss safe. With the monarch between them, they were going to stand looking in the opposite directions. One would face the west and the other the east. At the same time, without using any reflective surfaces, they would both see the king clearly. How would they do it? They would be facing each other. 5. Attacked neighbor. Detective Oliver Norton was leaving for work in the morning when he saw a man running out of his neighbor's house. He stopped the guy, who said his name was Paul. He came to visit his colleague about 30 minutes ago and saw him fighting with a man. The door was locked and Paul couldn't get inside to help. While he was trying to find the way to enter the house, the criminal left. Paul entered and saw his colleague lying on the kitchen floor, unconscious. Oliver and Paul came into the house. Nothing seemed to be out of the ordinary, but after looking around the kitchen, the detective arrested the man. Why? Paul was the one to attack Oliver's neighbor. If his words had been true, fried eggs would have been burned after 30 minutes of cooking. 6. Diving disaster. You're a scuba diver who's exploring the seafloor on your own. After visiting one cave after another, you find out you've lost your way. You start panicking because you have barely enough oxygen to make it back to the surface. Suddenly, you see the cave you're in has 3 exits, but one of them is guarded by 3 giant jellyfish, the second by electric eels, and in the third opening, there are huge whale sharks. Which passage should you opt for? Choose the exit guarded by whale sharks. They get their food by filtering water and are totally harmless to people. 7. Stolen documents. At 11 a.m., Liam got a call from his friend, the owner of a law firm. The man was in distress. A very important document had disappeared from his office. It had been on the desk the evening before, but nowhere to be found in the morning. Liam immediately went there to question the employees. In no time, he had 3 suspects. Elijah said he had spent the previous evening at the movies. Mason had taken his girlfriend to dinner, and Evelyn had visited an art gallery. It didn't take Liam long to understand who was lying. It was Elijah. His ticket wasn't torn. 8. Real or fake? Kevin decided to visit his elderly aunt he hadn't seen for several months. But when he got to her house, he saw 2 men wearing construction worker uniforms. They were moving out some furniture. What are you doing here?" Kevin asked. "Miss Saunders hired us to help her get rid of old furniture. We're from Pick and Carry Transport Company," one of the men answered. He sounded sincere, but Kevin felt there was something wrong about the whole situation. Suddenly, he realized the men were thieves. How did he understand it? There was no company van near the aunt's house, just a dark car with tinted windows. Plus, why were the men wearing construction worker uniforms if they were movers? 9. Anxious wife. Ryan got into a car accident. He was badly injured and lost his memory. The man was rushed to a hospital. When he came around in his room, he saw 3 young women near his bed. The doctor informed them Ryan had to stay there for at least a week. Unfortunately, the poor man couldn't remember who the women were. Each of them claimed to be his wife. "Sweetheart, but what if you never remember me?" the woman on the left was crying. "Honey, I'm so worried. Let's go home and I'll take care of you," the one in the middle exclaimed. The girl on the right was furious. "They're trying to steal you from me. Let's leave this place right away." Which lady is the man's wife? The woman on the left was crying. She's the only one who's worried. The other 2 want to take Ryan away from the hospital, but he's injured and needs medical care. 10. Gas station accident. Brian was driving home late in the evening when he noticed he was running out of gas. He stopped by at a gas station to fill the gas tank and buy some snacks. When he came up to the employee to pay, she told him $5.05. Brian paid, went outside, and called the police to report an emergency. Why? The cash register showed $18.35, but the cashier said $5.05, which looks like SOS. 11. Trapped in a well. Eric was a famous detective. Once he was investigating a case and found some crucial evidence. The next morning, he woke up in a well. It was old, deep, but luckily not filled with water. On the flip side, there was no way he could get out to the surface. Suddenly, Eric saw his main suspect's face at the top of the well. "You won't live long enough to rat me out," the man shouted. And then the detective felt soil falling on his head. The criminal was going to bury him alive. But in an hour, Eric was already out of the well and running away. How did he manage to get out? The detective started to shake off and tamp down the soil that was falling into the well. He was getting closer and closer to the surface until he managed to jump out and run away. 12. Winter escape. Mark and Liza had been dating for 2 years. One day, the guy came to his girlfriend's house. He was going to propose to her. But when he made it there, he found Liza with another man. Mark was furious. The other guy got scared and rushed out of the house. Liza was shouting it was his brother, but Mark knew better. Unfortunately, he hadn't seen the guy's face clearly. When he ran outside, he saw 3 men. Which one is Liza's lover? It's the guy on the left. It's freezing outside, and the other 2 guys have red cheeks and noses. But the third guy's face is pale because he just left a warm house. 13. A bus driver. A bus driver is heading down the road from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. It's been a long day and he's worn out. He yawns several times and ignores a stop sign. A police car is passing by right at this moment. The officers inside see the driver turning the wrong way onto a one-way street, but they don't arrest him. Why? The man's walking, not driving a bus. 14. A mysterious man. A man and a woman are driving along a road at breakneck speed. Suddenly, the man pulls the car over. He tells the woman he'll be right back and sprints into a large building. The car doors are locked, all the windows are up. But when the man returns, he finds the woman unconscious. There's also a stranger in the car with her. Surprisingly, instead of pulling him out of the car, the man hugs him. Who is the stranger and how did he enter the car? The woman was in labor, and the man was driving her to a hospital. By the time he returned with a doctor, the woman had already given birth and passed out from exhaustion. The stranger in the car was the man's son. Well, that's a happy ending. The strict professor. A student put his final exam paper into the pile of the other students' papers. The professor told him, "I saw you were cheating at the exam. You'll get an automatic fail." Then the student asked him, "Do you know who I am?" The professor answered, "I neither know nor care who you are. You have to be punished for your dishonesty." The student walked away. When the exam scores were announced, he discovered he'd gotten an A. How come? The professor indeed didn't know who the student was. That's why he graded his paper just like anyone else's. The chef's out. The owner of the restaurant, Vegan Paradise, called the police. He was in a panic. "Someone has attacked our chef. He was taken to a hospital several minutes ago. Our rivals must have sent someone to ruin my business." When the police officers came to the restaurant, they learned that 3 people had been in the staff area during the accident. The first cook was cutting onions when the chef was hurt. He told the police his vision had been blurred because of the tears, and he hadn't seen anything. The second cook was peeling shrimps when the accident happened. He said he had been listening to music through his earphones, and he hadn't heard anything. The third person, a waitress, claimed she had been serving lemonade outside. Who's lying? The second cook attacked the chef. Come on, shrimps in a vegan restaurant? Really? Wolf paradox. 3 wolves were walking in the snow in a line. One of them says, "There are no wolves in front of me." Another says, "There's 1 wolf in front of me and 1 behind." The third wolf says, "There are 2 wolves in front of me and 1 behind." In which case is it possible? It's possible only if the third wolf's lying. Puppy mystery. Emily had a puppy she loved to the moon and back, but those around her couldn't stand the adorable pooch. Emily's husband hated how much time his wife spent with the dog. Her friend Deborah didn't like that every time she visited Emily, she had fur on her clothes. And the family maid just wasn't a fan of animals. One day, Emily came home and didn't find her puppy. The woman was furious. Her husband told her he had just come back from work and knew nothing about the dog. Her friend got offended. "I left my scarf here last evening. I've come to pick it up." The maid claimed she hadn't even come close to the pup because of her allergy. Who knows where the pooch is? There's pet hair all over the floor. Why doesn't the maid have an allergy to it? She's lying. Truth or not? Eric, a police detective, was having lunch in a cafe. At some moment, he went to the bathroom and left his smartphone on the table. When he came back, the phone was gone. The detective saw a man leaving the place and ran after him. Eric stopped him when the man was about to sit in a car. The detective told the man to give him his gadget back, but the man seemed confused. "I know nothing about your phone. I just gave my friends a lift to work." And he pointed at 2 men entering an office building. After hearing this, Eric immediately called the police. Why? The man lied. His car was a sports convertible with just 2 seats. The car wouldn't have fit 3 men. Who went out? In the middle of the night, Dennis was woken up by a loud crash. One of the kids must have been out. But they know they aren't allowed to leave after curfew. The man went to check on the children. All three of them, Catherine, Ruth, and Larry, seemed to be sleeping peacefully. Look at the kids and try to figure out who sneaked out of the house. It was Ruth. There's a dirty sneaker hidden behind the curtain and several pieces of French fries under her bed. Theft on a train. Brenda was traveling by train. It was scorching hot in the carriage. The girl took off her gold bracelet decorated with diamonds and put it on the table in front of her. Several minutes later, the train entered a tunnel and it got pitch dark. When the tunnel was left behind, there was no bracelet on the table. Boy, I'm surprised. Brenda was shocked. Someone's taken my bracelet. There were just 3 other people in the compartment. Helen said she'd been sleeping. Rachel was reading a book on her phone. And Gregory had gone to the bathroom even before the train entered the tunnel. Who took the bracelet? It was Helen. At first, she had her sleeves rolled up, but now they covered her arms down to the wrists, hiding the bracelet. Underwater fire. A sailor got a letter from his girlfriend. In this message, she told him she'd cheated on him. The man was so furious he managed to burn the letter under the water. After doing it, he got arrested. How was it all possible? The man was a sailor on a submarine. A New Year party. Emma was giving a New Year party. Everyone was having the time of their lives. But then, someone snuck into the kitchen and added something to all the drinks. Emma and all her guests got food poisoning. Only 3 guys were okay. They hadn't been drinking anything, and it looked suspicious. The first said he was into sports and had to stay fresh for his morning run. The second guy blushed but admitted that he liked Emma. He had been waiting for an opportunity to talk to her for the entire evening. And the third guy complained he had been having a stomach ache since the beginning of the party. He didn't want to make it worse by drinking anything. Who poisoned the drinks? It was the second guy. He has shoe covers on. He was wearing them not to leave footprints on the kitchen floor. King's heir. An old king has passed away. 2 men, the true heir and an imposter, claim to be his long-lost son. Both fit the description. In their 30s, tall, blonde, and with facial features similar to those of the late king. One of the ministers suggests a blood test to identify the true heir. One man immediately agrees, while the other flatly refuses. Surprisingly, the one who has agreed is arrested, while the other man is correctly accepted as the rightful heir. Why? The minister knew the true prince was a hemophiliac. It means his blood doesn't clot properly. That's why a blood test would be fatal for him. Impossible. You are alone in a room, but there's also a thief in the same room. How is it possible? Sorry to break it to you, but you're the thief. Which mom's rich? Look at these beautiful young moms. They both look stylish, but only one of them is loaded. Which one? The second mom's rich. Look attentively at the first woman's baby carriage. There's a sale tag on it. A mysterious door. A man walked into a room and saw 3 doors. The first one had a sign which read, "To the Swamps." On the second door, there was a note, "Lion's Den." The third door didn't have any sign, but the man knew for sure where it led. How? It was the door he had entered through. A missing millionaire. Police got a call from the house of a wealthy man who hadn't come back after going for a jog. When several officers arrived, they questioned the maid, the millionaire's wife, and his driver. The maid said, "When Mr. Jones went for a jog, he asked me to prepare his breakfast. I immediately got down to work, but it's been 3 hours and he hasn't returned yet." The wife was worried too. "I saw him in the morning, but he was in a hurry. We just greeted each other and I went to work." The driver told the police he had been waiting for his boss in the car, smoking and checking his social media. Who knows something about the millionaire's disappearance? The maid's lying. If she had cut the apples for breakfast 3 hours ago, they would have turned brown by now. King's decision. Once, a king asked his advisors, "What should I do to a person who will dare to touch my beard? I need to punish this crime somehow." The first advisor said, "Put them in prison for 3 years." The second advisor answered, "Oh, make them leave the country and tell them to never come back." The third advisor provided an unexpected reply. They should be given sweets. The king thought for a while and agreed with the third advisor. Why? The only one daring enough to touch someone's beard, especially if it belongs to a king, will be a child. Okay, time for more riddles, the Parents Edition. There are 3 categories of questions: easy, which award 1 point each, average for 2 points, and hard for 3 points. We're going to start with the easy ones. Remember, every correct answer gives you 1 point. Jason and Steven are home alone with their kids. Jason is talking to his mother, and Steven is watching a baseball game on the TV. Who's being negligent? Jason. Although both babies might fall out the window and both dads should watch out, Jason's baby is on the higher floor. Whoops. Mila and Gregor cook dinner for their kids. Which one of them is, the most confused? Mila. She accidentally mixed up the plates. She gave the dog her daughter's food and is about to feed her daughter dog food. Yum. Sabrina and her son went to the mountains to spend the day sliding. Adam is barbecuing in the backyard while watching his daughter. Who's not watching their child properly? Sabrina. Her son is sliding right into a big hole in the ice. Rebecca and Natalie took their kids to the lake. The boys are about to jump from the cliff. Whose child is in danger? Natalie's. There's rocks under the cliff her son is about to jump from. Megan and Rachel were cleaning their kids' rooms. Rachel noticed her son's phone and decided to check it, and Rachel found her daughter's diary. Who's in trouble? Rachel. It's bad to read a child's personal things, but she's also going to be busted because her daughter is about to walk into the room. Mary and her son are spending time on the beach. Chris and his children are watching a TV. Which parent is doing something wrong? Mary. It's dangerous for anyone to be in the water during thunderstorms. Now we're moving to harder questions. Every correct answer awards 2 points. Meredith is teaching her daughter to do her makeup. Beverly is teaching her teenager to style her hair. Which mom is doing something wrong? Beverly. The hair straightener isn't plugged in. Nicole and Diana are spending time with their kids. Nicole is reading to her son, and Diana is watching cartoons with her daughter, who is not behaving wisely. Nicole, she forgot about the food that she's cooking in the oven, and it's burning, so it's going to be takeout tonight. Bradley and Ryan's sons are blamed for painting a face on a neighbor's fence. Both boys denied doing it, and both fathers believe their sons. Who's been misled? Ryan. His son still has green paint on his hands that he couldn't properly wash off. Jennifer went for a walk with her son, but she got distracted talking on the phone. Mark left his daughter in a closed car while he entered a store to buy garden tools. Who has made a bigger mistake? Mark. It's dangerous to leave people or animals in a closed car, especially in the heat, when the car warms up very fast and there's a lack of fresh air inside. Brian is teaching his teen son how to drive, and Nancy is cooking a dinner with her daughter. Who isn't being wise? Brian. Nancy's daughter seems to be old enough to cut an apple, especially under supervision, but Brian can't control all of his son's actions in the car. Martha and her son went to the jungle, and she stopped to take some selfies. Peter took his son camping, and he's setting up the tent while his son is trying to light a fire. Who's not being smart? Martha. Her baby is approaching a snake that can be venomous. Melissa and Stephanie are doing chores. Melissa is handling the laundry, and Stephanie is cleaning the kitchen. Who should be more careful? Stephanie. Her daughter put her cell phone in a dishwasher. Tiffany and Michael's sons came back home after a study evening at their friend's house. Neither parents are suspicious. However, someone's son wasn't studying tonight. Who overlooked a party guy? Tiffany. Her son has a lipstick stain on his collar. Jack and Vivian took their kids to school. Now Jack is walking to work and Vivian is driving to a store. Who forgot something? Jack. He's still wearing his daughter's pink school backpack. Looking good, Jack. Charles and Penelope cooked breakfast for their kids. Which parent probably didn't get much sleep the previous night? Penelope. She gave her daughter a raw potato and didn't even peel it. Sandra is doing gardening with her daughter. George is watching his child swimming in a pool. Who's being stupid? George. He fell asleep and left his son in the pool unsupervised. What's more, the boy took off his armbands and can drown. Uh-oh. Elizabeth and John's daughters came home. They said they were doing a group science project, and both parents believed their daughters. Who didn't detect a lie? John. His daughter is wearing a sweater on a hot day, so she could be hiding something. Jessica and Aaron cooked a dinner for their families. Jessica cooked Thai soup, and Aaron made mashed potatoes. Who is a bad cook? Jessica. Her daughter poured her soup in a flower pot. Travis didn't let his daughter go to her friend's birthday party and told her to do her homework all day. Christina's son had to spend the day in his bedroom too, instead of going to the movies. When the teenagers came down to dinner at 7 o'clock, which parent didn't notice they're being lied to? Travis. It's raining and his daughter has wet hair. It means she was outside and not sitting in her bedroom. And finally, the hardest questions for 3 points each. Dustin is cooking dinner with his daughter. Joseph is mowing the lawn while his child is playing nearby. Who isn't smart? Joseph. Lawnmowers are very dangerous machines and should never be used if there are kids around. Sean is teaching his little son how to chop wood. Camilla is listening to music and washing the dishes while her baby is sleeping upstairs. Who's making a mistake? Camilla. The music is too loud, and she won't hear if her son wakes up and cries. Brandon and Daniel are watching their kids playing in the backyard. Who's not being wise? Daniel. His son is playing in the sunshine without a hat on and might get sunstroke. Pamela is getting ready for the meeting with her son's teacher at 12 o'clock. William is driving his son to a birthday party. Who isn't very attentive? Pamela. She must have confused the time. The meeting was at 12 o'clock, but it's already 1:30. Thomas is reading a newspaper while watching his son. Molly is talking on the phone while dinner is cooking in the oven. Who should rethink their actions? Molly. She forgot to turn on the oven. Samantha and Bob are sending their kids on a school field trip. Which of the parents forgot to do something? Bob. Why is he holding his son's lunch? The kid is not eating today. Sum up your points to check your results. If you got 25 points or less, you scored below average. But don't worry, check some of our other riddles to train for the next time. If you got 26 to 45, you have an average result. Keep it up. If you got between 46 to 60 points, you have an above-average result and you definitely are a riddles master. And finally, if you have 61 or more, you're a real genius. Or you're on your second or third time watching this video. Come on, fess up. On the weekend, Ashley wanted to go to the party her classmate was throwing, but her father didn't let her go. So, Ashley asked if she could go visit her grandparents instead. They had recently moved to a nice one-story country house. This time, her father happily agreed. But Ashley only used this as an excuse to leave home. In reality, the girl went to the party. When she came back home after the weekend, her father asked her what she had been doing at her grandparents' place. Ashley said she had been mostly studying upstairs. Her father immediately knew she was lying. But he didn't even call his parents to ask if what Ashley said was true. How did he understand? Ashley said she'd spent her days upstairs, but her grandparents lived in a one-story house. I guess Ashley needed to get her story straight. Michael wants to play some games on his brother's computer. The brother usually allows him to do it, but only when Michael manages to break the code. Today, the hint is Ava 0, Kate 200, Beth 500, Olivia 0, Avery What's the passcode? Each consonant in the word gives you 200 points, and each vowel takes away 100 points. In Ava, there's one consonant that gives 200 points, but then each vowel takes away 100, so it results in 0. In Kate, 2 consonants make it 400 points, and 2 vowels take away 200, which leaves us with 200 points. Now you get the pattern. So, following this logic, there are 2 consonants in Avery. That's 400 points. But 3 vowels take away 300 points altogether. It means the password is 100. Esme got lost in the forest, again. She was wandering around all day long. Finally, at dusk, she saw a spooky house where a witch lived. Esme had nowhere else to go, so she entered the house, petted the witch's cat, and asked for help. The witch had a problem of her own. "If you manage to solve it, I'll let you go. Look, I have 2 apples. I want to cut them so all 3 of us, me, you, and the cat, get the same portion. But my magical knife can only make 1 cut." How can Esme solve this problem? She should put the apples together and make a diagonal cut across them. There'll be 4 pieces. But the 2 smaller ones will make the 3rd portion, and it'll be equal in size to the other 2. An old king had no heirs to the throne, but he needed one, so he asked the smartest young people in the kingdom to gather at the palace. He gave them each an egg. Then he said that whoever took the best care of their egg and could grow a beautiful bird would be the next king or queen. Half a year later, the young people came back with gorgeous birds of different kinds. Only one girl, Scarlet, came back empty-handed. She said she couldn't do it. Surprisingly, the king announced her to be the next queen. Can you explain why? The king gave everybody a simple rock instead of a real egg, which means that no one could possibly grow a bird. Everyone else cheated except for Scarlet. And the king realized she was the only one who would make a good and fair queen. Ariana wanted to have some pocket money, so she started to work at a bookstore. At the end of her first day, she noticed that one book of the collection was missing. There was no record of someone buying it, so it must have been stolen. Ariana was an honest girl. She went to the manager and admitted she hadn't noticed the theft. But the manager just laughed and said that nothing was missing. Take another look at the bookshelf and try to figure out why. The collection only has 8 books. The 9th book is actually book number 6, but it's standing upside down and in the wrong place. Mrs. Miller has 4 daughters, Abby, Beth, Charlie, and Danny. They're identical quadruplets. Once, the woman asked the girl's teacher to let Abby go after the first class. She had an important appointment. The teacher couldn't tell the teenagers apart, and the girls wanted to have some fun. So they gave her a hint. Charlie is somewhere in the middle. Danny is on the left side of Beth and on the right of Abby. Abby is right next to Danny. Can you help the teacher identify all the girls and find out which one is Abby? So we know Charlie is somewhere in the middle, and since Danny has someone on both sides, she's somewhere in the middle too. If Charlie is the second, Danny must be the third, and since Danny is on the left side of Beth, Beth must be the fourth, and Abby the first. But it can't be true, because Abby and Danny are supposed to be next to each other. But if we switch Charlie and Danny, Danny will be right next to Abby, but still on the left side of Beth. It means that the right order is Abby, Danny, Charlie, and Beth. Abby is the first girl. Mrs. Jones' friend called her to say she had just seen one of her sons at a party, but she wasn't sure which one it was. Mrs. Jones never allowed her sons to go to parties. She asked them if any of them had been there, but the guys denied breaking the rules. Mark said he had been studying. John said he had been practicing for his piano class. And Ethan said he had been playing computer games. Can you figure out who's lying? Ethan. Look, he has a lipstick stain on his collar. A company was hiring a new manager. They wanted full commitment, so they didn't want this person to have a family. Ben and Rob came to the interview. Both of them said they weren't fathers and didn't plan to become ones. Rob had a flawless resume, but the company still hired Ben, even though he wasn't as good as Rob. Why? Before the interview, Ben had to take his teenage daughter to her ballet class. After that, he accidentally brought her pink ballet backpack with him. The HR specialist noticed it and realized Ben had a daughter. In June, all students had their final math exam. The professor looked at them and understood that one of them was going to cheat. Who was it, and how did the man figure it out? It must be this girl. It's June, and everyone is wearing t-shirts and shorts. But she's put on a sweater and high boots. She must be hiding something. George and Carter are cooking dinner for tonight. Can you see who is doing something wrong? It's Carter. Look, he's using rat poison as a salad dressing instead of oil by accident. I think I'll skip the salad tonight. Liam and Owen were camping in a forest. Suddenly, they saw a bear near their tent. Liam decided to run away, and Owen froze and stood still. Who is in danger? Liam. The bear is likely to start chasing him, and the animal will definitely be faster. If you ever find yourself in such a situation, it's better to keep your cool. Slowly move backward, keeping eye contact. Michelle and Emma were enjoying their time outside when a storm started. Michelle hid in her car that was in the middle of the beach, and Emma just kept swimming away from the shore. Who is not smart? Emma. She should get out of the water immediately and join Michelle in the car. It's dangerous to touch water during a thunderstorm. Two friends, Tom and James, went swimming after school. They found a nice spot and decided to jump from a cliff. Can you tell who's in danger? Tom. He should have examined the bottom more thoroughly. There are rocks under the cliff he chose to jump from. Oh boy. Camilla and Rachel were cleaning the house. At some point, both women entered their teenage children's bedrooms. Camilla noticed her son's phone and decided to check it. And Rachel found her daughter's diary and opened it. Who's in trouble? Both mothers aren't doing that great, checking other people's personal things. But Camilla is about to get busted. Her son is about to walk into the room. Elizabeth and Mackenzie are both late for work. They're driving over the speed limit. Who isn't smart? Elizabeth. Too many random things are lying around in her car. In case of an accident, they may hit her. Two guys, Mike and David, came to the prom looking gorgeous, but one of them isn't as rich as he wants to seem. Can you tell who it is? Look at Mike's shoes. They're all dirty. He must have been walking to the prom because he couldn't afford a car. But I'll bet his girlfriend loves him for the great guy he is. not how much money is in his pocket. Megan and Jennifer are the most popular girls at school, but one of them is poorer than the other. Can you tell who it is? It's Megan. Look at her purse. It looks like Gucci, but the logo is wrong. It must be a cheap copy of the bag. But Megan saved a lot of money, so maybe she is the smartest. Two families are going on vacation. Look at them attentively and try to figure out which family spends more money. The family on the left. Their bags have stickers on them showing they travel regularly. Or maybe the family on the right just prefers collecting fridge mags over stickers.